they came and gave us examples of immorality in tonight's debate. But now the fact is, can criminalization really solve this problem to the roots in tonight's debate as team opposition? Now, first of all, we have our cases as unfair burden, then undermining parental responsibility and fostering, then practical impossibility in tonight's debate. Now, undermining burden, what does this mean, first of all? That means, first of all, the House of us team proposition, they're coming and telling us that what is the burden. They're coming in and telling us that it's now that they're going to criminalize it because they think that it's the duty of these social media platforms actually to regulate this ban. What about the parents now? If you look at the core roots of this, now these are the same parents who have made these children or their children to have access to social media devices now. That means, first of all, if they really want to maintain that level of morality, that means this has to be a collective effort, first of all, in tonight's debate. It cannot only be criminalization because in the end, one part is suffering, but the other part is not suffering. But then, now, let's look at the effectiveness of this. Now, criminalization, first of all, does not tackle the roots of all this. Now, in tonight's debate, we're coming here telling them that let us carry out mass communication like this one now. You educate them about the disadvantages. Let me rest my case.
Thank you for that lovely speech. Can we have the second of speaker? Here.
Dear Judge, I begin my debate in 3, 2, and 1. Dear Judge, I think this resolution is a counterfactual motion. And then it's enabling us to make sure that you understand which way is going to be best for us to proactively protect the student from exposure to harmful content. Now, in that this harmful content is going to be a way that children get exposed to things to do with pornographic movies, children get exposed to things with violence. In that children are people below 18 years. In that way, will a child go and then watch the things? We think it's not good for a child. Say this platform should proactively do it before these children get exposed to it. In that the criminalization is going to come in a way that, one, if we find these social media platforms, we think this is going to incentivize them to promote things to do with child browsing tools. In that is going to make actively protect these children from getting exposed to things to do with bad things like maybe the pornographic movies. Now, in that's where our duty to protect comes in. And then in that, dear Judge, we think who is going to replace these people, like the people who invented WhatsApp, people who invented TikTok, who will replace them if we don't protect these children? Now, in that, we're looking at the future risk, whereby if these children are moral decayed, we think the future generation is going to be at risk, whereby in that one, these children lack moral values like integrity, respect for self. And then in that, how do you think the future generation is going to be if there's no one to replace these people? In that, we see that criminalizing this is going to be means to an end to what? To exposing children to harmful content. In that, one thing as we're looking at as team affirmative, we look at things to do with violence. And then social media, we don't deny the fact that social media are looking to things to do with bad money. But in that, we have to favor future generation because you want to inspire people who are going to replace you. In that, how are you going to inspire someone if you don't protect the passion from harms? We think that is going to be very bad. In that, the comparative is team negative. They're looking at only making money, of which are team affirmative. We're looking at making money while looking at the future and then morally future generation. In that, we think by the fact these people are morally, we think they're going to be creative. These children are going to be creative, and then we are going to believe in mental assimilation, whereby we see that this platform deals with things to do with what? Attention span economy, whereby if you like researching something, these platforms are going to bring it there. Now, if we protect these children, we think these children, even if they get access to the internet, they are going to see things not beyond their age, but according to their age. As they grow, step by step, they are going to get exposed to things age by age. In that, team negative, we are not looking at that, but as team affirmative, we are looking at that, whereby we think these children are going to be very good in future because, one, they are going to inspire the rest to replace them by morally upright things. And then people that are economically stable, they are not dependent, or which team negative are not looking at that. I beg to submit.
Thank you for that fine speech. Let us have the second negative speaker. Here.
Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we are saying that protection is guaranteed when criminalization is being put in place in Uganda, because we do have protected websites. We do have protected websites on the internet when it comes to the use of the internet. Because once we are using the internet, we have websites to bring to your information. Now, there are sometimes called emails you cannot enter a website without having the legal means to enter it. So we have websites which are being protected. A child cannot be able to access the pornography website because he or she is still young to access such access. Now, we should not normalize this because the moral values belong to the parents. Now, you are confused because you are trying to prove to us that parents do not have their duty to play. Remember, moral duties are supposed to be for the parents. You are busy undermining the duties of the parents because you're equally saying that discrimination should be put in place. But we are trying to maintain a country that sides with both activities because we want the parents to have their role to play when it comes to maintaining the life of their children. Now, dear judge, this is what we are saying. We are talking about unfair burden and technical impossibility when discrimination is brought in place. Now, when it comes to technical impossibility, there's complete blocking of harmful content in technical unfeasible duty because when criminalization is being put in place, there will be nothing like harmful content, that we agree, but what we are trying to say is that you will make parents feel that now we are not capable of promoting our own values in our very own children. Now, what for us 100% guarantee can't be in social media platforms. That's what we all know. But one thing we do know is that parents do have that capability to bring in the moral duty into their children. Once in a while, you find that parents are engaging, they are bringing critical thinking into their own children, making sure that TikTok, YouTube, which are websites that are being brought about in the internet, are having greater access. Daily, they are being informed on how they can be able to use this. Dear judge, what we are trying to say is very simple. We are talking about undermining parental responsibility, which is being brought about by criminalization in the country. Now, our parents are not having that full support. They are not having that full capability because criminalization is equally bringing them down. They are not being supported. So we firmly stand our ground and we do say we are not in support of this motion. I beg to rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you for that fine speech. Let's have the final affirmative speaker. Here, here.
All right, out of my protected time, I am the third speaker from affirmative. And then team opposition, I would only pick your POIs when you stand up and I'll be in position to see you. Secondly, don't make noise for anybody here. If you have a POI, please kindly get up quietly. Don't disrupt anybody's actions inside here because we are very many using the room. Resolved. This house supports the criminalization of social media platforms that fails to proactively protect children from exposure to harmful content. Now, ladies and gentlemen, judges, we need to know one thing in today's debate. Today's debate necessarily means that are we supposed to criminalize or we should not? Now, what does team opposition come and tell us? Team opposition come and tell us that, you see, judge, we are looking at practical impossibilities. They are looking at undermining the parental responsibilities, and then they also come and talk about unfair burdens. But then, judge, we come and tell you that, you see, we are criminalizing because we think the social media platforms have the duty to protect, and then they also have the capacity. By the fact that the UCC has granted them the ability to operate in countries like Uganda, we think they have the capacity to make laws, and then we also think they have the ability and the duty to protect each and every user of the internet. Now, judge, we come and tell you that, they come and talk about that, you see, we are going to deny the parents their moral values, like the moral values belong to only parents. But then, judge, one thing we need to know that in Africa, there's a saying that goes that it takes a whole village to raise a child. By this fact, we think that everybody is involved to raise a responsible child. So that by this fact that there's no saying that parents are involved. Yes, even if parents are also involved in moral upbringing, we still think that even all the community is involved in bringing up the children when they are morally upright. That's why we come and tell you that it's a moral duty or a moral role for the social media platforms to protect and provide children the content that is not harmful. Now, judge, we come and tell you that, you see, they come and talk about making money, like we are going to reduce the money these social media platforms make. But then we still tell you that, you see, that making money is still going to be there because we are only going to restrict them on the social media platforms that they should avoid for children. But then we also tell you that if we restrict them, there's also going to be making money because they are going to continue with other social media platforms that are working. Put for example, if TikTok posts something that is bad, like TikTok has been harmful to the children, we think that we only criminalize them because they have failed to do the role they're supposed to do, that is to protect the children, but then they still continue making money in other social media platforms. Now, Judge, we come and tell you that, you see, Judge, they come and we come and tell you that, Judge, the content that we are going to, like why we should criminalize and why we support the criminalization, we told you that clearly, that because they have a duty to protect, and then it's also a means to an end. Now, Judge, they come and say that, you see, we are looking at things like practical impossibilities, like it's not going to be practical and the rest of it. But Judge, we still see that it's going to be practical because we have held very many, we see UCC holding very many companies responsible for the bad activities they have done. So we still think that even if we criminalize this, it's going to be very practical because people are going to be involved in it. Thank you.
Thank you for that fine speech. Let's have the final speech of the debate.
Yes, the panel, ladies and gentlemen, it's tonight's debate. What team affirmative have failed to understand in tonight's debate is my second speaker come and talked about the child safe brewing. Now, what do we mean when we talk of child safe brewing? Yes, they say that it's the duty of the UCC to protect the children. But now, the case that they brought in, that they're standing on, criminalization is too harsh. Now, if they're criminalizing, what kind of offense have these people committed? They would have tell us. Now, they would tell us what forms of criminalization are they going to imply in place? Are they going to stop this media platform from operating in Uganda? Of which we are saying no. These media platforms are what? They're earning governments the revenue, of which you cannot stop them. Because we are going to assume that for you now criminalizing this, somebody that has committed a criminal offense, first of all, according to the Constitution of Uganda that was established in 1975, it states clearly that any person that has undergone against the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda has to be deserved. Actually, could not assume that if these people are going to criminalize, first of all, they might block them access to work in this country. They might all give them an heavy fine, which is not going to be fair. That's why we talk about unfair burdens. Now, the panel, ladies and gentlemen, slide debate, we bring to you, my second speaker talked about this child safe brewing, of which they ask. Now, when we talk of child safe brewing, you are aware that there are websites that you cannot access unless you're having a national ID, unless you're having a NIN number, for you to access it, you need to first fill all those information. Now, in this situation, we are not going to criminalize this, but we are going to what? We are going to bring a regulatory measures of what? Through child safe brewing. Now, in this situation, what are we going to see if you criminalize this? The children, first of all, are going to get very interested that why is the government criminalizing these acts? Now, they first of all, they will have that interest that I need to look forward to see this. What are these things that are contained in these media platforms? Now, some of this information will be acted out. They will be given out to these children. First of all, it will increase again their risk of what? Of accessing harmful content on these social media platforms. Now, when we say that we are going to have a child safe brewing, that's what we talk of the children. That's what we talk of the parents' responsibility. The panel, ladies and gentlemen, the parents' responsibility. The panel, ladies and gentlemen, here is my case.
Okay, thank you for that lovely debate. Just give us 1 to 2 minutes so that we can give you the ballot and the justification for the ballot.
Okay, just want to get the names right. Who spoke first? Name. Name. Vivian. Okay, I think it's this one. I didn't get the names from the other side. Who spoke first? Yeah? Craig, yeah? Okay. Who spoke second? Name. Yeah? Oh, Bambale. Okay. I think I gave a third name. That's Joshua. Thanks.
for the ballot. So the motion was this House supports the criminalization of social media platforms that fail to proactively protect children from exposure to harmful content. This debate was awarded to the team that argued within proposition. This is this team. So it's very simple. I'm just going to start off with what the debate ought to be and who was closer to that burden. The debate is about if a certain social media platform fails to protect those children, should we criminalize them or not? The debate isn't about whether parents have an obligation or not, because we all know that parents have that level of obligation. The debate goes down to if these social media platforms, one, have that level of obligation, but also two, since children use them, should we criminalize them or not? That is a burden that you fail to prove on your side that these guys prove. So let me just break down the debate as it moved on. So the first thing that we get from side proposition is that in many instances, children face a lot of harms on social media. They get exposed to content that is harmful to them, the content that is bad. To see an obligation, but if not, it gives these social media applications an obligation to sort of look out for it. So what are the major responses that we get from side opposition? The first thing that we get from opposition is, to what extent can they do this? This debate isn't even about the extent. The debate is an evaluation on whether, if it is done, is it justified or not. That response is not sufficient to take down the matter that is brought by the team within the proposition. The second thing that we get from the other side of the house is that this is used to make money by social media platforms, by the UCC, which is something that is good. Side proposition tells you money is not something important. What's important currently are the children that we are raising. At a point where those children are harmed, it then becomes bad for us. We don't care if that money is there. But also secondly, they continue and they tell you that money still exists. When you criminalize these social media platforms, you still have other platforms working, but also secondly, which comes in first speech, the incentive to do good. The incentive for those social media platforms to then protect these children in order to stay relevant within the society that exists. This is something that they hint on. We don't get further responses as to why that is something that doesn't exist or why it is something that is bad. The final thing that we get on your side of the house is as to how parents have a level of obligation and whatnot. So the major issue here is that they concede that parents have an obligation, right? But the debate isn't about the parents' obligation. If you wanted to run the parents' obligation, you had to then weigh it to the obligation that they give you on their side of the house, which is the social media platforms, or the benefit that you get. At a point where you don't do that, you then can't get the debate. So they win this debate on two major things. One, just on the burden of proof, which is on who gives you better results for the children, but also secondly, just like how they're able to prove to you how children like have more utility and they're better protected on their side of the house. Thank you very much.